Good afternoon, friends. It gives me great pleasure to welcome the Honorable Minister of Power and Corporate Affairs, Dr. M. Veerappa Moily, the Honorable Minister of State for Power, Shri K.C. Venugopal, Secretary Power, Shri P. Umashankar, and Secretary Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Shri Navid Masood, and other senior officers of both the ministries for the Economic Editors Conference 2012. The Press Information Bureau organizes this conference once a year to provide a platform for interaction between the media and the policymakers in the economic sector. In particular, this conference is focused on the regional media. And sir, this year we have about 35 senior writers and journalists from all over the country who are participating in the conference, apart from the local media. The conference was inaugurated yesterday by the Honorable Finance Minister, followed by sessions addressed by the Minister of Communications and IT, the Minister of Railways, Road Transport and Highways. This morning we had two sessions addressed by the Minister of Agriculture and the Minister of Civil Aviation. We will be ending the conference today with a session addressed by the Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas. We hope that these sessions will provide the overview and the background of the economic decisions taken by the government. As the Honorable Minister is handling two very important ministries, we will begin with a focus on the Ministry of Power. Honorable Minister will make his opening comments, after which we will have an interaction. And after that, we will take up the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. I would request you to ensure that your cell phones are switched off or are in the silent mode before we begin. Thank you very much. I now invite the Honorable Minister to make his opening remarks.
Friends, good afternoon. I am quite excited, both myself and also Mr. Venugopal, Minister of State for Power, and our both secretaries, Mr. Navid Masood, Secretary Corporate Affairs, and also Mr. Umashankar, Secretary Power, along with all our, the officers, to interact with you. I thought that this is a mandatory press conference, or is it like that, or voluntary? Annual. We are mandated by our, Mrs. Neelam Kapoor, the Secretary PIB, or Director General PIB, to interact with you. I think last year also you have scheduled, but I don't think I could turn up or something, or
Perhaps you missed us.
I missed you. And that means to say that this is my rather maiden press conference with particularly the economic editors, and more particularly with the regional newspaper editor. That will add up a lot of color to it, and it's always a pleasure, because hailing from one of the region, namely Karnataka, or my friend from Kerala, we are not that we are not unfamiliar with the national press, but we are more homely, at home with the regional press, because we always speak that kind of a regional language with the kind of a regional ethos, which can be responded to by all of us. Anyway, I welcome on my behalf and also on behalf of Honorable Minister for State, Shri Venugopal, and also other secretaries and our able officers to interact with you. We thought just between us, and of course if you all agree, I think we'll first take up the power, and thereafter questions thereon. Thereafter, I think our officers on power can go, and we'll definitely concentrate on corporate affairs. I think if this arrangement is all right, we will go ahead with that. Is it okay for everyone? Okay, that will be much better, so that we will neatly deal with the power. Thereafter we will switch on to corporate affairs. Friends, I am very happy to share with you, some important achievements in the year gone, by which was also the final year of the 11th five-year plan. We were able to add 54,964 megawatt of generation of power in the country, which was not only 2.5 times the capacity added in the 10th plan, but also close to the total capacity added in the last 3 earlier plans together. In fact, that year we added capacity, last year, that is the terminal year of the 11th five-year plan, we added capacity of 20,502 megawatt, which was almost equal to the total capacity added in the entire 10th plan. That means 21,180 megawatt. That's why, we were inspired or, encouraged for a higher benchmark and target to add 88,537 megawatt of capacity in the next 5 years of the 12th five-year plan, which is 54% more than the 11th plan achievement. Besides increased capacity addition, there has been emphasis on fuel-efficient thermal plants through creation of supercritical capacities of 660 megawatt and above. Accordingly, it is envisaged to add up to 40% of the thermal capacity through fuel efficiency supercritical plants. 12th target would comprise 66,230 megawatt of coal-based capacity, as well as 9,897 megawatt of hydro capacity, besides some gas and lignite-based power stations. This is in addition to 5,300 megawatt of nuclear capacity proposed for the 12th plan. As regards achievement of the target, besides rigorous monitoring of ongoing capacity addition projects, of which 90,000 megawatt power are under construction, the Ministry has guided the augmentation of domestic manufacturing capacity of power equipments to enable higher capacity addition. That was a real problem earlier, but now even the capacity to that extent, I am very happy to say that capacity addition, apart from BHL, other private sector like Larsen Toubro and many others have also joined in queue, and that means we are nearing to the self-reliance insofar as the power construction of and power equipments. We are also working closely with the state governments for resolving matters related to land availability and with the Environment Ministry for the forest clearance related issues, particularly with respect to the hydro sector. During my recent visit to a number of states like Maharashtra, the Rajasthan, and of course I had planned to go last week to Kerala, which I could not do it. And I had made it a habit, particularly to visit particular state from morning till evening, and if necessary, even till late night, to have a thorough review of situation, so that our chief ministers or the ministers or the officers need not again and again come back to Delhi and discuss the things. And once for all, we would like to see that all these problems are heard, responded, and many a time it is being finalized. As far as the fuel issues are concerned, as regards fuel issues, coal is very important factor. CIL has been given the target of supplying up to 477 metric ton of coal in the terminal year of 2016-17. We are working closely with the Ministry of Coal to resolve probable gaps in supply. As it is, 2012-13, the supply has shown improvement in the last 4 months, with the CIL supplying up to 96% of the targeted quantity in the period April to August 2012, as compared to 89% in the same period last year. With the diligence and proper planning, we should be able to get over the coal supply gaps. So this is a news for you, because the report always many a time is that it's not available, insufficient, inadequate, and we are not in a position to achieve the target. As on today, which is not true. Transmission sector is concerned, a record addition of 13,700 megawatt of inter-regional transmission line carrying capacity has been achieved, along with the laying down of 70,286 circuit kilometers of transmission lines. This is 1.5 half times more than the achievement for the 10th plan. The 11th plan has also saw India achieve successful testing of the world's highest voltage test station of 1200 kilovolts. As in the case of capacity addition, here also we are setting higher benchmarks by targeting addition of nearly 1.1 lakh circuit kilometers of transmission line in the 12th plan, so that the transmission line length available in the country would be about 3.68 lakh circuit kilometers by 2016-17. Here also we are working closely with the state governments to resolve issues of right-of-way and land availability matters. We are also coordinating with the Environmental Ministry for expediting forest clearances. Further, as regards transformation capacity, about 1.5 lakh MEA was added in the 11th plan. We propose to add nearly 2.7 lakh MEA in the 12th plan. Thus, with 3.68 lakh CKM of transmission lines and over 6.6 lakh MEA of substation capacity, in the country, we hope to have the requisite capacity to transmit comfortably the power generated, both existing and additional added in the 12th five-year plan. You all know that, this is very important. Merely adding capacity is not enough unless it is transmitted properly. We are very fortunate to have, maybe the world's second, the largest, the grid transmission line. It's working very well. And of course, I will come back to that grid crisis. And I must also tell you that, by December 2013, we will be, integrating the southern grid into the national grid. This is a very happy news, I would like to say. So as on today, there are two frequencies working. After 1st January 2014, there will be one frequency. That will make our whole system perfect and working. I would also like to emphatically state the following. The recent grid disturbances, we are taking a number of steps towards securing safe and sustained operation of the grid. A number of steps have already been taken towards this. For example, tighter frequency control band of 49.7 Hz to 50.2 Hz, filing of petition in the CRC for review of frequency control through UI mechanism. Work on other steps like third parties audit of protection systems, proper functioning of PMUs, etc. has been taken up, including putting in place islanding mechanism for important cities like Delhi. I think within 2 or 3 days of the grid crisis, I think I have gone on record saying that this will not be repeated. That is on very, very concrete ground. We all know that immediately the grid crisis happened, within, I think, 5 or 6 days, I convened the meeting of all the chief ministers of the northern states, and 13-point resolutions was drawn, and in fact, to be very frank with you, that all those 13-point resolutions is under implementation, and everyone is cooperating with us. I don't think, one will effort to have another crisis of the kind which happened on 30th and 31st of July. So that's why, we are strengthening that system, because ultimately it will evolve itself into some sort of we also consider, grid security as a national security matter. This is how the things are evolving, and I'm very happy that each of the state chief ministers and, the whole system is working on those lines, and this is a good evolution which is taking place in the country. The share of private investment in power sector has increased from 15% during the 10th plan to about 43% in the 11th plan. However, this is largely confined to generation projects. We are working now to encourage private sector investment in interstate as well as intrastate transmission systems through mechanism of open competitive bidding with long-term concessions. This will accelerate the flow of private investment in transmission while reducing costs and improving efficiency. Progress has been by and large very good. I think there will be an investment of 13,000 crores private investment, particularly on this intra and also interstate transmission lines. Under the National Flagship Program of Electrification, RGVVI, Rajiv Gandhi, Vidyutikarana Yojana, we have surpassed the Bharat Nirman target of electrification of 1 lakh villages and providing free electricity connection to 1.75 crore BPL households. By the end of the 11th plan, 1.04 lakh unelectrified villages had been electrified, 1.95 crore BPL households provided free electricity connections. By 15/9/2012, 1,05,714 unelectrified villages have been provided electric infrastructure and 2.01 crore BPL households given free connections. This is besides achieving the intensive electrification of over 2.69 lakh partially electrified villages. Government has proposed to continue the RGVI program in the 12th plan in order to complete the spillover work started in the 11th plan, to cover the remaining villages and BPL households under the ongoing program and to extend it to cover the remaining habitations irrespective of the population of the villages. For achieving this ambitious goal, my ministry has asked for an allocation of rupees 49,730 crore for the 12th plan. The planning, we have already approached the Planning Commission and Planning Commission has agreed it in principle. And this is an ambitious and aspirational program of Prime Minister, and I think we hope to achieve this big goal and a big agenda, national agenda. Adequate supply of electricity to rural area continues to be a priority of the government. Restructured APDRP. The IAPDRP is an important initiative of Government of India in encouraging and supporting the states to deal with the problem of outdated infrastructure, leading to high levels of AT&T losses in the urban areas. The scheme was launched in 2008 with an outlay of rupees 51,577 crore. So far, we have sanctioned about 32,000 crore for projects under three components of the scheme. This would benefit 1,402 towns by giving them IT-based billing and collection systems, modernize their distribution infrastructure, enable them to establish a state-of-art distribution control system. Government of India also approved other day, the Cabinet had approved a financial restructuring scheme to deal with the problem of increasing losses of many DISCOMs that was leading to their impending unviability. I am hopeful that the states will take advantage of the scheme to resolve the viability of the DISCOMs and ensure that operate. I think the scheme has been already, I think it's under the notification now.
We've sent the scheme.
We have sent the scheme all the state governments. Besides this, a National Electricity Fund has also been launched to facilitate interest subsidy on loans both for the private and the public sector DISCOMs for distribution network strengthening in areas not under RGGV or RAPDRP. Apart from this, foreign investment, both FI and FDI, has been permitted in power exchanges up to 49% to facilitate the power trading. Let me conclude by saying that the government is taking steps to effectively deal with the challenges in the power sector, both in the power generation and also the distribution system. While further accelerating the pace of capacity addition in generation, our priority to resolve the issues pertaining to availability of fuel supply. Further, Ministry of Power is taking all steps to ensure that a competitive structure is created which aims at maximizing consumer interest while seeking to balance risk allocation among shareholders. Above all, government's endeavor is to ensure that the poorest of the poor living in the remote corners of the country can access electricity. As you all know that the power growth, and also the GDP is always intertwined together. It is the proportion is 1:1.5. If you want to achieve 9% GDP growth, we need to have 1%, power growth. This is inevitable to happen, and we are in that direction. That is why I always say that our fundamentals are strong. That means to say our the achievement both in the 11th plan and also intended target both in the 12th plan is intended to achieve a minimum 8% power growth, which will ultimately end up with the 9% growth in GDP. This is the kind of a dimension of problem which is in the growth sector of the country, both in the power sector and also in the GDP. Now you can ask questions.